Hey guys, it's a market update. We've just blasted through this 100k level. It surprised me, to be honest. I thought we'd have a lot more choppy trade around this 100 level, but there are just buyers in the market. Michael Saylor single-handedly blasting us through here. He's being very, very aggressive, which, isn't really the best, to be honest, because when you have really aggressive people in the market like this, you get this kind of discrepancy, you get this volatility, which he actually wants, and that's great. But he's just pushing this market around, and if his bid disappears, then you're going to get some volatility. But I'm not going to tell you that we are anywhere near being bearish or anywhere near the end of this bull market. And I'll show you all the data throughout this video. It's pretty insane, actually, that we've still got a long way to go, I think. So if you do trade, check out Bybit. If you can trade on Bybit, you can get up to $30,000 as a deposit bonus. Any amount you deposit, they'll just put a deposit bonus in your account if you can trade on there. But look at this, Satoshi, richer than Bill Gates. This is chef's kiss, absolutely amazing. Satoshi, this is everything wrong with capitalism, and this is pure capitalism, self-sovereignty, beating out this absolutely insane capitalist who everyone hates. So it's very, very good, but we've still got a long way to go in this bull market. You can see this. This is the funding rate heat map. It's not even overdone. I don't actually understand this, because we are at a crazy level for BTC. There's clearly so many spot buyers in the market. Usually what happens in previous cycles, right, is that these big rises in price are met essentially with a lot of leverage trading, a lot of speculation on this from, people trading, and, that's what we do, right? But the funding rate is not overheated. Now, this just tells me that this buying, you can see it, right? Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy, he is just buying spot, right? He's not trading on leverage. He is trading on leverage, but he's taking it a different way. He's actually arbitraging the bond market and the demand for Bitcoin there and the volatility there, and actually buying spot. So he's kind of trading on leverage, but it's not like futures funding that we actually got in previous bear markets. You've obviously got just billionaires buying this thing. You've got this proliferation of BTC around the world where people with money are buying this thing. Now, I want to be in Bitcoin because I want to buy what all the billionaires are buying, right? And I've looked down the list at a lot of altcoins, and they have exposure to different places of the world. The reality is the only country that can bid this asset up to literally tens of trillions is the US. And the US billionaires are buying Bitcoin, and I want to be a part of that because they're going to bid it up. They have the money to bid it up. So that's why I'm in BTC. We are going crazy higher. But the market isn't overdone. It's not overdone. The funding rates aren't overdone. You'll see all of the RSI, which I'll show you in a second, are not overdone. So it's hard to be worried or bearish. People are just aggressively buying this thing. We're in a bull market, and that's that, but we're not ending. Now, if you do trade as well, if you can't trade on Bybit, check out Apex. If you trade from your crypto wallet, you can just deposit funds here and trade from your crypto wallet. Super easy. This is actually Bybit's DEX now. So this is, I think, the future if you want to trade, right? Because it's just no centralized exchanges, self-custody of your assets and trade on here. You can get 5% fee discount on here as well if you trade from your crypto wallet. I think I may have got a few calls wrong recently, so I want to be transparent about that and talk about those. Firstly, we'll just look at the RSI for BTC. This is a very long-term chart, right? So this is why I say it doesn't really feel like we're very, very overdone in this cycle yet. So the funding rates, they're solid, which means that it's a lot of spot buying, and spot buying is great. It's usually long-term stuff. People are selling. Yeah, people are selling right now because if you want to buy Bitcoin, there's not enough being mined, and so you have to push the price up to buy that Bitcoin. But look where it's going. It's going to MicroStrategy. It's obviously going to a load of billionaires. Nation states are buying this thing, right? They definitely are. And they don't sell, right? They're not going to be selling or taking profits this cycle, right? They're looking at massive long-term investments. And so you're just seeing it, this asset change hands. But in terms of this cycle, this is the RSI down here. And RSI peaks at the top of every cycle. At the top of every cycle, Bitcoin gets kind of very, very overdone in terms of its price in relation to its fundamental growth, right? So you have a rate of growth, kind of trend rate, and that's what I think is this orange line in the middle here. And we're clearly in a bull market because we're above this and we're trending higher up to this blue line, which is typically where the price seems to top out a little bit because the price gets way overdone in relation to its overall trend, which is what's the trend? It's the fundamental adoption. It's people saying, actually, I want to come into Bitcoin, right? And then it's obviously macro cycles and everything like that, which plays its hand. But as you can see here, RSI is not actually very overdone. Again, another sign that we aren't overdone in this cycle. You go and look at MVRV and AVIV as well, some on-chain metrics. Again, it's not showing we're overdone in this cycle, which is pretty crazy at 106K. You can see that RSI is coming down over time. That makes sense because RSI is a momentum indicator. And so the momentum of moves is going to get crushed a little bit over time because it takes more to move the price in percentage terms than it has before. It takes more nominal dollars to move, right? And so, yes, the annual rate of return is going to get crushed over time. But that doesn't matter. I think this is the best risk-adjusted trade because you have the best asset in the world that American billionaires are buying. That's what you want to be in, right? And so the RSI, even though it may make a kind of lower high for this cycle, that would be the trend, right? This kind of trend here, we aren't overdone. So super bullish still on the price. We're going to get a drawdown at some point because Bitcoin is very public right now. It's getting very noisy. Everything, like the mainstream media is bringing it on. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. That's both good and bad, right? We're in a bull market, which is great news. Price is going up. But to be honest, these get a little bit mature and sometimes you're going to have this drop and wipe everyone out because that's just what this asset does. But look, still very, very positive for the rest of this cycle. One of the things that I may have got wrong recently is saying that it doesn't matter who wins the election because the fiscal deficit in the States is going to continue. Now, to be fair to the Trump admin, they have directly addressed this recently and they've said the deficit is too high. We need to cut spending and reduce the deficit. That's about as good as you can hope for. Now, that doesn't mean that the deficit is actually going to get reduced because it's not just one man at the top saying we're going to cut here and not spend there, right? You have all that goes through Congress, right? All the spending bills and everything. So, how much control does he really have over this? I don't know. I can't predict this. But to be fair, it's coming from the top that they are trying to sort this out. That's good news in my opinion. And I think it's ultimately good for BTC because another thing that I got wrong, not wrong yet, but may turn out wrong, and I hope I'm wrong on this, is that I didn't think the Bitcoin strategic reserve had literally any chance of getting done, right? Because this is a huge change to world markets and it has to go through Congress again, right? And it may get voted down. But again, the president is saying we should do it and we're trying to do it. Now, again, will it happen? I don't know. So those two things, I was saying the deficit's definitely going to continue. No chance of a BSR, right? Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. If those two things happen, I think that's just amazing news, obviously for BTC. So I hold out hope. Now, the problem with cutting the deficit is that the deficit is actually pushing inflation into the market, which is necessary, right? Because if you don't pump up prices, then the treasury earns less money. So you need inflation because the treasury receipts are dependent on inflation, right? The tax receipts are dependent on inflation. You need wage inflation, you need price inflation, you need housing and markets inflation because that pushes up the price level and it means that your tax receipts grow. And the debt is actually one way to force that stimulus into the market. And if they cut spending, it means that stimulus disappears, which means the price level will actually fall down, making tax receipts lower, making the debt to GDP worse. So that's an insane realization. Something that Trump is doing, and you can see his strategy here, he wants to cut spending, cut the size of government, cut regulation, but on the other side, he's trying to get the free market to create the GDP. So instead of what we've had the last 4 years, which is unlimited government spending, getting bigger and bigger, forcing the stimulus into the market through the government, Trump's saying, look, cut them out and the free market comes in. Now he's actually doing this. This was insane yesterday where he's pushing SoftBank to do 200 billion. They already said that they're going to do 100 billion, right? But he says literally in the press conference, do 200, pushing him. Absolutely insane. Amazing stuff. But that's what you need. If you're going to cut spending from the government side, you need hundreds and hundreds of billions of GDP creation through the private sector. They need to invest. They need to bring people back and economic activity back to the States. I don't know how this is going to play out. There is some volatility that's going to come because of this. If you're cutting spending, you could get a few quarters where GDP craters, which is not bullish for markets. On the other side, Trump is pushing the markets higher, trying to create that inflation as well, right? Because if markets are high, that creates a wealth effect. That creates a price level going up, which is inflationary, which helps out the treasury receipts. So this is important stuff, and this is going to change markets. It's too difficult. I can't predict it, and we're going to get some sort of worry or something in the future. But look, in any case, Bitcoin's the best asset in the world, the most desirable thing. That's what I have to be in. What we're seeing right now in markets is what Bitcoin represents, which is pure capitalism, pure Darwinism. MicroStrategy has the bit by the teeth. They are the strong player in the market. And this guy he's a clever guy, right? He's playing 4D chess. He is going crazy right now. Now, he's not taking any personal risk with this strategy. But what he's doing is taking advantage of markets, which is fair play. But he's also, look at his cost basis right here. It's going insane. His cost base, he's bought the majority of his Bitcoin right now up here. And he's doing that because he has access to the capital now and there's demand for it. So if there's demand for it, he has to kind of go in, right? But the price is it's just getting pumped up very, very aggressively. And this is going to create the next bear market at some point because, like I said, weaker players always get, cut out in the bear market. So Darwinism at its best. It's up to us to manage our stack properly as well and not get over leveraged when we trade because there is no bailouts in Bitcoin, right? So yeah, very, very interesting set of events. But I think we go way higher in this bull market. I would personally like to see a little bit of a cooling off for a while, to be honest, and reset things. But I don't think it's going to happen because there is no reset to be had. The market isn't overdone and neither are futures. So, right, it's just a very, very strong for BTC. If you trade, and you can trade on Bybit, $30,000 deposit bonus for them. If you trade from your crypto wallet, check out Apex as well via the link below. You can get a permanent fee discount on your trading fees there. I'm James, it's Manzi G. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.